On the 26th of December 2004, a tsunami ravaged the coasts of 14 countries around the Indian Ocean. Nearly 250,000 people were killed. One country particularly hard hit was the island nation of Sri Lanka. At the time, the international response was overwhelming. Billions in donations poured in from all over the world. Some of the funds were used to support projects, both large and small. Over the years, we've been following the progress of a few smaller projects, and we've come back to Sri Lanka now to see how things are coming along. The Methodist pastor Anil Silva received donations from churches in Germany. He bought new boats for fishermen and their families who had lost everything. German Andrea Launhardt was a student and working for a turtle conservation project when the tsunami struck. She was on this beach and, amazingly, she survived. She went on to found a small private aid organization for tsunami victims. Hashini was a small child when the tsunami hit. Her dream has always been to become a doctor. What are Hashini and the others doing now, more than a decade after the tsunami? These men from Matara in southern Sri Lanka have been out fishing all night. When the tsunami struck, the people on the coast were hardest hit. Those most desperately in need in the immediate aftermath were the orphans of fishermen. At the time, Andrea Launhardt did what she could to help. She gave English lessons, provided school supplies, and helped the kids with their homework. Soon, with donations from Germany, she was able to set up her own education center.
This is a video of the construction work. Here they're putting on the flat roof. That was in April 2006.
It became the Education Development Center, or EDC for short. Today it offers an extensive education program for Sri Lankans of all ages. Andrea Launhardt developed the aid project together with Chandralal Premakumara. At first, Lal, as he's called, was simply a colleague. Now they're a couple and have 2 children. Andrea chose to stay in Sri Lanka after the tsunami. She only survived thanks to the help of others.
It was an opportunity for me to give something back in return, to offer people here opportunities for the future.
They started with a few old computers. The interest in the classes they offered was huge. When the teacher, Boudica, asked the first group of students if they'd ever used a computer, only a few of the boys and even fewer girls raised their hands. In 2008, we went with Lal to visit one of the girls. Hashini was 10 years old at the time. She was good at school and said she wanted to become a doctor.
She wanted to be a doctor.
She often stayed up late doing her homework. Her father's a house painter, her mother a housewife. We accompanied her to an awards ceremony. Diplomas are being handed out at the Education Center for English and Computer Technology. Hashini has done well. The town's mayor hands out the certificates himself. Graduates of the center are much sought after by employers in the area. Hashini wants to continue studying here until she gets her high school diploma. Hashini's parents wouldn't be in a position to finance the many years of schooling. But fortunately, it's free at the education center. It's funded by donations from Germany. Meanwhile, Boudica has been teaching computer technology for more than a decade. And today there's a computer for every student. When Andrea and Lal aren't working at the education center, they like to go out into the fresh air. Together with students from the center and volunteers from Europe who are spending a few weeks in Sri Lanka, they collect garbage from the beaches.
It's important to show people, especially children, that it's possible to do both things. You can focus on yourself and your education, and also on nature.
Since the tsunami, they've also planted thousands of mangrove plants. They provide a natural barrier, protecting the land from the destructive power of the sea. At relatively little expense, this modest project is achieving impressive results. We have an appointment with Pastor Anil Silva. In 2005, he was able to replace the lost or destroyed boats of several fishermen.
They can't do their job really without boat and engine. Then I thought I have to help the people.
5 motorboats, paid for by donations from churches in Germany. 2 families share one boat, forming a kind of cooperative. One of the fishermen is Vasanta Daisu. Pastor Silva no longer works at the coast. He's been elected superintendent of the Methodist Church and is now based in the capital, Colombo. He remembers the fishermen to whom he gave the new boats more than 10 years ago.
I know very well this person now. Even now he's fishing. Jaisurya, Mr. Jaisurya.
He also tells us that Vasanta Daisu and his 2 sons are still living in Matara, near the harbour.
Out of the fort. Earlier they lived in a fort. Now they are out of the fort.
So we head back to Matara.
Do you know this man?
It takes a while, but eventually we find someone who knows Vasanta.
My friend.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's your friend?
One phone call and 15 minutes later, Vasanta appears.
Hi.
Hi.
We are searching you the whole time. Hi, how are you?
Fine.
Are you doing fine?
Yes.
Yeah? That's a pleasure to meet you again.
Okay.
So we search you with this picture. You remember?
Yeah. My sons, 2 sons.
And you're still fisherman?
Yes.
Do you have the same boat?
Yes.
And is your boat here?
Yeah.
Where is it? Can you show us? Okay.
This. Supesala Putta. Supesala. My sons.
Your son's name?
Yeah, son's names. My father is present. No money.
How was your work last night? What did you catch?
200 kilo. Yes.
That's a good catch, right?
Yes.
Oh, good.
We accompany him to the fishmongers to inspect his catch. If last night's entire catch sells, it would be worth what Vasanta usually makes in 2 weeks. In 2004, most of the boats here were destroyed. With donations from Germany, Pastor Silva was able to buy many fishermen new boats, an aid project with lasting positive results. The majority of Sri Lankans are Buddhists, but some are Christians, Muslims and Hindus. Since the tsunami, Sri Lankans have grown closer together despite their religious differences.
Never we ask what is your religion. We only ask what name, address, telephone number, contact number, all these things. We don't want to know even which religions. This is not our matter. That our matter is poverty. We have to help to overcome the poverty level. That's it.
At the Education Development Centre, the original focus was helping tsunami orphans, but that's now shifted to include children from poor families. Volunteers from Europe come, not just to tutor children, but also to play with them. The staff also try to get to know the children's mothers.
We work a lot with children who come from families who are poor and have a lot of problems. And the more we engage with them, the more we realize how different the role of women is here from, say, women in Germany. Women here have far fewer opportunities, and they're rarely treated with equality.
Andrea and Lal also try to help women acquire skills and find work. For example, they've set up sewing classes. It's an important step towards gaining independence.
We have to help to the ladies to come to the same level. Financially, knowledge and all. That's why we thought we should help them. And otherwise they have to depend on the husband. When the wife not working 100%, they have to depend on the husband to get whatever they need. When they earn a little bit money in their home as a self-employment, sewing or batik or whatever, then they are independent, at least some certain.
So in recent years, the EDC has been offering sewing courses up to the level of industrial sewers. This is a 6-month course and it's free of charge. More than 200 women have already completed the full set of courses and acquired a certificate. The head of the sewing workshop is Priyanji Pereira. She holds a full-time post in the Women's Education Project and pays into a pension scheme. The idea of a woman drawing her own pension is almost revolutionary in Sri Lanka. There was a time that Priyanji Pereira couldn't have imagined such a thing. We accompany her home after work, and she tells us her story. She married young. Her husband was a construction worker and didn't earn a regular wage. So she left her daughter with her parents and went to Singapore. There she worked in a textile factory for more than 7 years. She spent most of her earnings on a house for her family in Sri Lanka. Now that Priyanji lives with her family and has a good job in Andrea Launhardt's Women's Project, the years she spent in Singapore without her child or family seem distant.
Actually, in that time is suffering much more, but I'm dreaming my house and my family, we are staying in such a nice house. In that dream, I control myself. This is my sewing room. Yeah. In the night time, after working, the night time I take order from the surrounding people. They ask me to prepare some frock, party frocks, saris. Normally Sri Lankan people wear the Kandyan. So this kind of party frock I'm prepare for people.
Andrea Launhardt feels at home in Sri Lanka. It's where her family lives, her husband and 2 children. She speaks Sinhalese fluently. The education, ecology and women's project that she runs with her husband has become her life's work. Her only regret is that she doesn't see her parents very often. Europe is so far away. So she was delighted when she was invited to Germany earlier this year. She was singled out by a large cosmetics company to receive an international prize awarded to women who contribute to nature conservation. The award ceremony took place at a gala event in Stuttgart.
She has increased many people's ecological awareness and helped women and families help themselves. We think that's wonderful. So the first prize of the Yves Rocher Foundation goes to Andrea Launhardt.
The €10,000 prize money will help her develop the project further.
I'm amazed that our work has received such recognition in Europe because we deal with local problems in Sri Lanka. This is wonderful recognition of the work we're doing.
The trip to Germany gave Andrea an opportunity to visit her parents, who live in a small village north of Berlin. Andrea grew up in former communist East Germany. From here, Andrea's mother, Ilona, organizes all the donation drives for her daughter's project. It's a labor of love. Every euro donated is sent to Sri Lanka. They catch up on paperwork and discuss upcoming events.
Benefizkonzert, ob wir da vielleicht auch noch was machen können. Genau. Wann soll es stattfinden? Am 3.6. Mit allem gut 190,000.
The 190,000 euros we've managed to collect in project money and donations have allowed us to set up and develop the things here. We're even able to cover the running costs and other expenses that arise. It's been good.
Also kann man gut so viel sagen, ja.
More than 190,000 euros in 10 years. Andrea Launhardt's project in Sri Lanka is relatively modest, but it's successful. Something that cannot be said of all the aid projects started after the tsunami. This used to be a hospital in Galle, a port city in southern Sri Lanka. It had a busy maternity ward with 50 babies born here every day. Then the tsunami struck and virtually destroyed the building. For years, the doctors and nurses have kept going under very difficult conditions in one small building. Some years ago, a German newspaper publisher promised assistance. And plans were drawn up for a new maternity hospital to be built a few kilometers inland. A German newspaper collected 11 million euros in donations from its readers. But by 2015, only the foundations of the new hospital had been laid. And the 11 million euros were gone. Then the government stepped in and construction resumed this year. With a bit of luck, the hospital should be ready to open at the end of 2018. That's 14 years after the inflated promises of the German publisher, which is no longer involved in the project. Over the same period, Andrea and Lal have started 4 or 5 initiatives without spending millions of euros. With part of Andrea's award money, they've just equipped this small village factory. They'd been planning it for a long time, but lacked the funding. Now the factory is producing brushes. A company delivers the raw materials and later sells the products in supermarkets. The factory is generating income in the countryside, where there's very little work to be had.
Last month we started project here to help to the poor people to enhance their financial situation. Those ladies, they can work here when they have free products, make the brushes, and then we pay per piece. Whenever they have free time, they can come here and then work. This is side support for their economy.
In the late afternoon, Andrea and Lal's eldest daughter Anisha picks a few flowers for the family's daily religious ritual.
I became interested in Buddhism when I was a student, and we live as Buddhists in Sri Lanka. Each day is a new beginning. Each day is a new opportunity. And each day we also reflect on what we're doing for people.
This evening, Lal has arranged a visit with Hashini in her grandmother's house. It's where Hashini fled with her parents after the tsunami, and she's still living there.
Keep good relationship.
Lal says Hashini has always kept in touch.
You really look the same.
Only a little big.
She loves to talk to her former teachers about her favorite subject, biology.
Yeah, come.
Hashini shows us her room. It looks just the same as it used to. She's studying for exams with a friend. She apologizes for the mess. On the way home from school, she was caught by the monsoon. All her books got wet. She tells us that her grades have been good, especially in the natural sciences. She's been awarded a state scholarship to study medicine. Hashini's dream of becoming a doctor appears to be within reach.
We are really happy because she's never give up, and she got some starting point from us, English and computer and all. And so, yeah, we are happy about her, of course.
Hashini will become the first member of her family to go to university. Lal invites her to the anniversary celebrations of the Education Centre on Sunday. The big day has come, and the celebrations are underway in the Alutgama Town Hall. The centre has a good reputation throughout Sri Lanka. The Education Minister is here, and monks give their blessing. Hashimi has come with her grandmother. Hashimi is a special guest because she's one of the school's most successful alumni. At the ceremony, certificates are awarded to the students who've completed their courses, including the adult seamstresses.
When I took the course, there were not so many of us. Now it's really big. Lots of people get a certificate. I'm proud to be one of them.
The centre is still totally dependent on donations. Andrea and Lal would like to change that. One idea is to start selling articles from the sewing workshop.
It's our dream to generate enough income to cover our running costs, to be able to finance the courses ourselves, and then to develop the project further. That's our great goal.
The story began when Andrea Launhardt came to Sri Lanka to help save turtles. She survived the tsunami here and also met her husband Chandra Lal.
When I see how the children are delighted by the turtles and how they love them just like we do, it makes me very happy. It's something that really unites the whole family.
When the baby turtles have just hatched, Andrea and her family come to carry the little ones safely to the water's edge.